Tonight on ABC 10, an exclusive investigation with some scary revelations about the city of Sacramento's drinking water. For almost a year, the city added a new chemical to the drinking water.
ABC 10's investigative journalists Joe Rubin and Tom Jensen have uncovered that the test immediately sent up warning signals that something was seriously wrong. And even though those warning signals continued for an entire year, the city didn't stop and didn't warn people about a hazard which has been linked to cancer, miscarriages, and birth defects.
It started as a short-term test of a water treatment chemical called aluminum chlorohydrate, or ACH. The chemical was temporarily replacing another water treatment chemical called alum. Sacramento's utility director says the test was all about one thing.
There was an expectation that we'd be able to save quite a bit of money.
More on those money-saving claims later, but first we want to talk to you about what you really want to know about: the safety of your drinking water and those tests gone wrong. That chemical the city of Sacramento tested, the ACH, is what's called an aluminum coagulant. Those coagulants are important. They take the river water and bond with impurities, weighing them down so they fall to the bottom of giant pools like this. Now Sacramento officials acknowledge that there was a serious flaw with their chemical test. In a report the city filed with state regulators, the city admits that the ACH chemical they were testing didn't do a good enough job removing some of those impurities. To make up for the chemical's lack of effectiveness, the city had to pump in more chlorine. And when the chlorine and these organic compounds spend too much time together, the chlorine can turn into disinfection byproducts, DBPs, in your drinking water.
As soon as the levels got to the point where we thought that we wouldn't be in compliance, and hence that the water wouldn't be protective of public health, we stopped the trial.
The city did stop in May of 2014, but the chemical trial went on for an entire year. And during that year, according to internal tests the city was performing, reading after reading went above what the EPA considers safe for long-term exposure to DBPs.
This community was basically looked at as a laboratory guinea pig in that they were exposed for a period of up to 1 year without any proper notification whatsoever.
Those are strong words from water treatment expert Bob Bocock. For decades, Bocock was in charge of water treatment plants in Southern California. Today, he works as an advisor to Erin Brockovich, made famous by the movie about her fight against tainted water.
By the way, we had that water brought in special for you folks.
Bocock and Brockovich say they're worried about what happened here in Sacramento because DBPs are nothing to mess around with.
In first trimester pregnancies, there's significant rise in miscarriages, and in third trimester, there's evidence of low birth weight.
Sacramento isn't the only city in the nation which has had problems with DBPs. Flint, Michigan had a problem earlier this year, but unlike in Sacramento, health warnings went out to Flint residents. The elderly, the very young, and pregnant women were told that they should consider bottled water. Churches even gave away safe water to the poor,
so that I don't contaminate my body.
People in Sacramento were never notified about the dangers, never given that choice to opt for bottled water, even though the city had all kinds of data that showed they had a serious problem. And that data came fast. A city chemist noticed DBP problems on the third day of testing. She wrote in an email to managers, "I'm nervous about the distribution samples." A chart that went along with that email showed DBPs way above the EPA limits.
I think the testing should have stopped immediately. They should have called the Division of Drinking Water.
But Sacramento officials didn't call that state agency or stop the testing. Instead, they expanded it, telling the city council they needed enough money to buy a truckload of ACH every week for a year. 1,100 tons of it. In July of 2013, BUSATH and other utility officials told the council in a staff report that a one-year chemical trial was mandated by the state of California. That sounds like a good reason if the state mandated it, but it's also not true. We went to the California Environmental Protection Agency Division of Drinking Water, and they told us they never required the city to do a year-long study on ACH.
You did not tell the city of Sacramento, you've got to do these studies.
No, the city approached us. It was the city's desire to see if they could use this chemical, if it would be more effective for their treatment plant.
And when we asked the city about that discrepancy with the state, we got this admission.
The word mandate used in the council report was probably a poor choice of words.
Every corner you turn on this particular project, red flag, red flag. It's like peeling back an onion. There's just another layer of stuff that the closer you get to the center, the stronger the smell.
So how much was the public exposed to DBPs in neighborhoods like these?
The numbers obtained by ABC 10 are truly alarming. Test after test revealed numbers in excess of the EPA safe drinking water standard of 80 parts per billion.
For example, in 2013 in this neighborhood, in one 2-month period, 11 of 13 readings were above the EPA limits. Then in March of 2014, readings were way up across the city. Some people were drinking water with DBP levels above 130 parts per billion.
Why not stop it? Because these are carcinogens, and that's one thing, the carcinogens, but we know that, for pregnant women, unborn children, this is bad stuff.
Because we had the anticipation of saving money with using ACH.
The most important question we wanted to ask is why his department didn't share all of that data, all of those alarming numbers with the public and with regulators.
As long as we're in compliance, we don't need to contact them.
USAT says what matters is that the city DBP numbers were within a safe range for quarterly EPA-mandated tests.
It's deceptive, it's mismanagement, and you lied. You lied.
When Erin Brockovich says Sacramento officials were being deceptive, what she's referring to is this. Our ABC 10 investigation found that even though city officials were aware of those internally high DBP numbers, the city held the EPA tests at times when they knew DBP numbers would be lower.
For one test in January 2014, the Sacramento River plant where the chemical test was being performed was turned off for repairs, and they got water from an American river plant. That drove the numbers way down, masking the DBP problem.
And for another of those quarterly tests, emails obtained by ABC 10 reveal that the city intentionally switched water sources days before an EPA test. The subject of one email, request for emergency water service from Sacramento County Water Agency to the city of Sacramento. The emergency? If the city didn't get water from another source, it was certain to exceed yearly standards for its disinfection byproducts. Then, by law, it would have to tell the public about the problem.
If we're sending dangerous chemicals downstream to pregnant women, we're saving money. That's kind of the way it sounds at this point. That's not what you're saying, is it?
Of course, our main goal, we have to stay in compliance.
USAT says everything the city did was legal, including switching out the water sources. Brockovich says she has some advice for Sacramento residents.
I would light up that city council, and I would light up the powers to be, and I would make certain that there would be repercussions for this type of deception, every reassurance that it doesn't happen in the future, and every single assurance that you are currently within regulations and you are delivering safe potable water to every single person on your distribution system.
We don't know if anyone got sick from this. We checked, but it's difficult to trace because the city never told the public or health officials. And about the city's overall claim that they did this for cost savings, that doesn't add up either. We analyzed city records, and not only was the original chemical safer, it appears to us it was also cheaper. There's still a lot of things we don't know about this story, but rest assured, we'll continue to investigate. In fact, we're already following up on some new leads. Tom Jensen, ABC 10 News.
We want to stress, and this is important, that the drinking water the city is now pumping is by every indication and measurement safe.
The city manager's office contacted us this afternoon, challenging us on this story and stressing that the city did nothing wrong. They provided us with a water quality report made public every year that shows detailed testing results. We've included a link to that document on our story on abc10.com. We've also invited the city to come on ABC 10 and respond to our story with any concerns. They have an open invitation.
Tomorrow morning, ABC 10's Tom Jensen will have more about this story at 6 a.m. and 9 a.m. So please join us again tomorrow on ABC 10 Mornings. We're back after this.